Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you guys how I take photographs of plants or still life indoors using very basic setups. Keep shooting and I'll catch you next time. So that's what a YouTube short is it? Nah, let's carry on. Anyone can do this if you've got lights, doesn't matter what sort of lights you've got. You can get yourself a background and you've got a nice window that you can use. So most of you guys that have been watching my channel over the years, you'll know that I love using window light, natural light, and I try and keep away from artificial light such as this one, which is lighting me at the moment, if possible. So I'll show you around the plant, I'll show you my setup, what I'm going to be using, and we'll get on and take some pictures, see how they come out. So this is my lens choice. This is a Nikon micro 55mm. I can get nice and close on the plant with this lens. At the moment I've got a converter on there because I'm using a Nikon digital camera, but I'll be taking this off soon and putting it onto a Nikon FM3A so I can get some film shots. The film I'm going to be using is Ilford FP4, and you can see this is the Lilly plant that I've bought, and already I've pulled the leaves back. You can see what I've done here with some wire and some blue tack. So I've literally bent these leaves back and blue tacked them in place just so they don't disturb where I'm trying to take photographs of. I don't want it to look messy, I just want to make it look nice and clean and simple and pure. And you can see the background is real simple. This is a backing board for a large square photo frame. There's the backing board there, and I've just put some photographer's paper over the back, which is black, or any craft paper that you've got, and I'm using this frame as easel to keep it in place. So very simple background, and I've got two boxes sitting on a chair to elevate the plant, and you can see I've got a nice large window light. The sun is over that side, so I'm not going to be influenced by any changes in light this morning. So come this afternoon it will be a bit tricky because the light will be coming in and out the clouds with the sun, but it's early in the morning, so this is going to be fine at the moment. And I've also made this large scrim. You can see it's just an old frame. It's actually a whiteboard frame that I've never used. So I took the whiteboard out of it ages ago, and I've just kept the frame, and I put some parchment paper, this is baking paper, over the top, drilled it onto a piece of wood, and that can sit there nicely if I need to diffuse any of the light, which might create any shadows. So it's just a diffuser, homemade diffuser, real easy to do. And I'm using this Colbor CL220R RGB light that I'm using for this shoot. Now I'm only going to use this if I want to give a little bit of fill. So I will use it, I will give a little bit of fill, but I'll do it with just window light, and also I'll use a little bit of fill as well. You know, because I've got enough photographs on the film itself, I may as well play around and see what I get. So the good thing is, once I've got this all set up, I can move this plant around as much as I like. Once the camera's in place, I can then move the plant around and have a look at all the different angles and textures of the plant and how the shadows and light is falling on it as I go to take, or before I take a photograph. So I don't have to really touch the camera much. I can just move the plant around in different positions and see what I like. Now all this stuff here, this is all distraction, so you know that's why I'm trying to bend this stuff out of place. All I want is keep it very minimalistic and just have the plant, the flower itself, and a leaf as well. I might even pull that leaf back a little bit and just get the flower. What I don't want is that. To me that looks, you know, a bit wrong. The plant is just sort of hidden in the background. It's not, you know, it's not breathing at all. So I'd like, if I do get both of them in, I'd like a little bit of separation like so. And I think with this little bit of separation, it just gives the plant its own unique identity in the photograph, you know. Just by separating this leaf. I'll also be looking at where the highlights are falling on the plant as well, and also where the shadow areas are. So I'll be working with this part of the flower here and the tip as well. So and I can bring that tip wherever I want. As long as that's in show, we can see that we've got a nice flower picture. If I hide that like so, it just doesn't look that great. And if I bring this aperture down, so we can get rid of the shadow areas, you can see now I've got this nice line, this highlight coming through the window down here. You see that? And the other side, it wraps around it going dark. But this line is actually really important to try and get that. That will give nice separation, and that's coming from the window light. If I turn the other light on, so now I've got a nice line of light this side, I've got a nice line of light on the other side, and in the middle is kind of darker. That will look really nice. I'll take a photograph of this on the digital and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So you can see that working. You can see some nice tones already working around that flower, and also as we come down the stem you can see that nice balance between the light either side and the nice shadow in the middle. The second challenge over this is the background. There's going to be a few shots where the background is going to be jet black, which I don't particularly like the flowers floating on a black background. I like to see a little bit of something of what's in the background. Now to some of you guys this might look complicated, but it really isn't. All I'm doing is just controlling the light. That's all I'm doing with this light, this scrim, and also the window light, and using that black background, which is simple to make. All I'm doing is just controlling the light, and I'm looking through this digital camera at the moment. I'm going to take a picture and show you guys the setup on this digital camera, and then I'm going to switch over to film. Okay, so I've got some nice separation on the flower and the leaf there. You can see I've got some nice tonality going on, but it is a little tiny bit darker over this side. I'd like to try and fill that if I can. So we'll bring the light in, and then we'll start seeing what the light can do. And the last shot I'll take and show you guys is I've got this handy little light here which I'm going to use to light the background. I'm just going to place that on the background. It's quite bright, and I'll have to make sure that that's giving some illumination, which it is. We'll take one more shot, and you'll see the difference once I've lit that background a little bit. I could do with it being lit a little bit more. And now I'm going to switch over to film. I'm going to load the FP4 inside the film and start taking my shots. I've got a rough idea of how I want it to look, and obviously I'll have to use a light meter as well, because this at the moment says 1250 ISO, so I'm not even metering off of the digital camera. I'm just looking at the back of the screen to see how the light is looking and how it's falling on the plant. So I'm going to switch over to the film camera, Nikon FM3A and an FP4 roll of film. Okay, and the last thing to do is just do a quick depth of field preview, and it looks like I've got a nice sharp focus, so that's good. And when I take the photographs, I'm going to use the timer instead of a cable release. So let's take the first shot, and this is just pure window light. Take the photo. When you are shooting this kind of photography, don't forget your aperture, especially for background texture. A wide open aperture will give you a softer image and disguise any unwanted background textures. And a small aperture will give you more detail on your subject, and depending on the distance from the background, it will show the background texture. This might be handy to remember if you're using a background such as chipboard or anything similar where you don't want that texture to be shown. So the negatives come out really nice. I've showed you guys some of the scans that I took, but really out of that roll of film, I was just picking and choosing whichever ones I want. I only want 2 of them. I've got 2 specific frames. They're not massive, and I've taken the matte out of the frame so I can put it under the enlarger and get it exactly how I want it to look inside the matte, inside the frame. And you can see, look, I can crop and adjust the image exactly how I want it, and because I'm not enlarging too much, it's going to look really nice. So that's about right there. I've made this into a little hinge. I've got 2 sticky tabs here. They'll go down like so, and now when I'm ready to put the paper underneath, I can just lift it up, put the paper down, make the print. So that was quite a good photography session. I enjoyed that. I enjoy sometimes staying indoors and setting up bits and bobs, you know, and trying to make the best out of whatever I've got around the house. Doesn't go to say that I've got to go online and start buying the best backgrounds, the best lights, and, you know, the best scrims and diffusers, etc. I could just do stuff indoors and with what I've got in the garage and make stuff up. And sometimes that's quite good fun to do in photography, and it's quite achieving as well when you get decent results out of it. You think, wow, you know, I didn't have to spend any money to do this. So I came in a darkroom and I've made some prints. Guys, those prints are going to be on Etsy. I'll be selling them as a pair. So if you want to buy the pair, you can jump on Etsy. And I've still yet to frame my prints, which I'll do tomorrow because it's very late at night at the moment. I'll show you those framed prints now. And I chose those two different prints to frame because they've got different backgrounds. One was the buff cardboard looking background that I chose, and the other one was the black background. And I chose the two just because I like the photographs and I like the two different backgrounds. I just thought rather than have two black ones or two buff ones, I'd have one of each, and that's exactly what I've done. And a simple session in the darkroom, a little bit of split grading going on, but you notice the easel I was actually using the matte from the frame itself to make the print. So again, I didn't even have to have an expensive easel or anything to do these prints. I just used the matte from the frame that I was going to be using, and it's perfect because it's a perfect size. And as you notice on composition side of things, you notice that I let the flower breathe a little bit in the frame itself. I didn't fill the whole frame with flower. You can see a nice edge going on, and you can tell that the flower is obviously the center of attention with the shot of the leaf. I've sort of got the leaf in the background, and like I said, I separated it, make it look a bit more dynamic against that leaf, and I think it come out really well. I didn't use the shots where I used the fill light in the end. I felt like the window light was good enough. And another thing, if you haven't got, you know, lights indoors, always remember that the window light, I think window light personally is the best light you can get for this sort of work. You just can't beat natural daylight, I don't think, as long as it ain't too harsh. But even if it is too harsh, you saw me making a scrim out of parchment paper, which is a tracing paper or a baking paper, or if you haven't got that, you can even use a shower curtain. Shower curtains are pretty cheap. You can get those opaque looking shower curtains, and all it does, it just diffuses the light. So if it's quite bright outside and you're getting harsh shadows inside, you could just put something like that up against the window and it will soften the scene and soften all the shadows for you to make nice photographs. So anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Really do appreciate your support and you guys watching my videos, and keep shooting, and I'll catch you next time. I'm gonna go in now because it's really late. I think I need to go to bed. Out.